Well, welcome back. We are in our next topic of our series is really going to be focusing on restricted and unrestricted funds and the impact that that has on the cash flows of your organization based on the donor and the donor profile of what's happening. So my name is Jason Kruger, again, the president of Signature Analytics, and we have Laura Bertagnelli here as well, who is our nonprofit guru. And it really is, we're so fortunate to have, she has such a passion for the nonprofit space. And so let's kick it off.
Yeah.
First, maybe you could talk about just in general, restricted versus unrestricted. But then as we talked about, how do you manage your organization with those two categories and the cash flows of your organization as well?
Exactly. So, funding can come from a variety of different sources, from foundations, from governments, from contracts, from different types of grants. And some grants are completely unconditional. Some grants have some conditions placed upon it. So you're actually required, with generally accepted accounting principles, to split out now and show your net assets, restricted versus unrestricted, and also required by the donor or by that contract or grant to make sure that whatever monies you're spending are in compliance with the exact purpose that they gave you the funding for. So when you have those restricted dollars, it makes it more difficult to manage your overall expenses because you can only spend the money in a certain way. And so you may have a program, for example, that you thought when you budgeted would be a certain size. Turns out it's not necessarily that size, or the needs have changed in the community. And so you're not able to be as quick and nimble as you could be if you had unrestricted giving that could be really used in a lot of different ways. And the restricted giving really pins you down in terms of how you can spend your funds. And I think that it's unfortunate that there aren't more opportunities for unrestricted operating funds for these organizations that really need it. And in terms of managing the cash flow, like we said, you've really got to hold that cash out and only use it for a specific purpose. So the management of your cash flow becomes even more critical.
Well, we had talked before about certain grants may be cost reimbursement based, right? So you have to actually come up with the cash to incur the cost. You incur the cost and then you get reimbursed. But that presents a significant cash flow challenge. We're going to talk about that a little bit in our next topic as well, but maybe speak to it, in general.
Sure, absolutely. These cost reimbursement grants are very difficult to manage in that, like you just said, you have to actually spend the money first. So it requires a deeper level of reserves than you would normally have to have if you were just like if it were fee for service or like any other normal for-profit business where you're selling something. And so the other thing that presents a problem with cost reimbursement grants is just the level of complexity and the requirements, that hoops you have to jump through in order to actually present your invoice and have it be accepted by the grantor. And I feel like grantors are getting even more specific about the types of documentation that they need, down to even functional timesheets where you'd have to show a specific approval or that a person did a specific task, down to all the payroll records. And so it makes compiling that information, then putting it together in the exact format that they're requesting, and then presenting it. And sometimes they're not paying for 30, 60, 90 days, right? And so, again, you think about the time you've incurred the expense. Well, that may have been 60 days ago, and now all of a sudden you're invoicing it, and then it's another 60 to 90 days. So it could, from the time you've incurred the expense to the time you get reimbursed for it, could be 5 months.
Yeah, that's all good stuff. So thank you for joining us on this topic, and we hope to see you on the next one.